Hey guys, welcome back. This is Seth Horst with 10-8 Real Estate.
And I'm Jaclyn Scotch with Evergreen Home Loans, NMLS 1373877.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, Jackie. I wanted to bring her in and we're going to kind of talk about some of the process that realtors and lenders use to get you through the home buying process. And if you stick around to the end, we will tell you like the number one issue people have with realtors bringing their own lenders to the table, and we'll kind of discuss that a little bit. All right, here we are with the first step in the home buying process when you're dealing with a lender and a realtor, and that is to get pre-approved. Why is that important, Jackie?
Well, the very first reason why it's so important is you want to know how much house you can afford and what is going to be within your budget. So when I have a buyer that comes to me, the very first thing that we're going to assess is truly what is your need. Are you looking to buy your first home? Are you looking to invest? We have to analyze all of the pieces of your specific story to ensure that we get you within the right product. And whether that means that you take out a bridge loan on an existing home that you have so that you can buy your next home, whether that means we look for down payment assistance options, that is what your lender is there to do. So that's your first step, because then you'll know truly what the numbers look like, how much cash you'll need to close, and how much house you can shop for.
Perfect. And then you guys, we get that number, it comes to us, and now we know what property price range we are searching in, and that's how we can kind of dial it in. Now that we have a budget figured out, it's time to go shopping. And this is where we come in. We will lay out all your wants versus your needs. We'll create a dream sheet, and then we'll start scouring the MLS for listings that match what you're looking for. Oftentimes we'll have a buyer consultation either in person or over the phone or video, and then we can kind of get to know each other a little bit and kind of understand your reasons for wanting to make that move. A lot of our buyers are coming from out of state, so we did as well. So we understand what it takes. We understand that emotional draw to get here from perhaps another place that's not as free and beautiful. Once we have that list, like I said, we'll start scouring the internet. If you want, we will set you up on a automated email drip system that will send you out listings automatically as they come out. Now it's time to put in an offer, and this is where it pays to have a skilled negotiator, and that's where you want a realtor doing this for you. There are so many different things when it comes to contracts. The papers are very long and complicated. There are things like escalation clauses and 13-page contracts that you need to understand, or your realtor needs to understand. So we submit an offer, and with that offer comes a pre-approval letter. And this is where the lender comes in, because we get that pre-approval letter. It's specific to the property and the offer that we're doing. And there are different levels to that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So your pre-approval letter is incredibly important for a multitude of reasons. But when you're working with a known lender in the area that does all the work up front, that listing agent can then reach out to the local lender and talk to them about the strength of your application so that they know you are truly a serious buyer. You've already done all the work up front. You just need a home. And that can put your offer far above everyone else's.
And in today's market, that's super important because we are still seeing multiple offers on homes. So if you don't stand out and you have that strong offer, you're not getting it. Now we have an accepted offer. So what's next? All right, so me as your realtor, I'm going to immediately start ordering inspections. I always recommend to my clients to get inspection on the property. It's never a good idea not to, because that inspection report then gives us the ability to go back and ask for repairs. If you tell me you're a licensed contractor and you'll do your own inspection, okay, I'll let you do it. That's fine. It ultimately is up to you. So besides the inspection, then we will start getting the title company involved, and they will do their title search, make sure it's a clean and free title. They're the ones that handle any earnest money deposits, things like that. And we'll do a whole separate video with the title officer so that we can really delve into that. Then we have the appraisal, and that is handled by the lender orders the appraisal. The appraiser comes out and they do their magic and they tell you the value of the house as it is. So that appraisal is fairly important. We also have underwriting, and that's Jackie's world.
So during this process, hopefully, If you've gone through the pre-approval process, you've already been through underwriting, but through the process, we're gonna send your file back to the underwriter and make sure everything and all the boxes are checked. That way, when the appraisal comes in, we know what the value is and we can go back to final underwriting for final approval and the exciting clear to close. Okay, so now that we have received your clear to close, that means we can start finishing up all of the last pieces of this process. So what your lender will do at this time is they will balance the numbers with the title company to ensure you've got all of the accurate lender's numbers, taxes, insurance, HOA, transfer fees, anything like that. It's all balanced and finalized, and that is sent out to you in a form called the closing disclosure, one of the most important forms of this entire process. So once you receive that form, you want to review everything and ensure it's exactly as you thought it would be, and make sure all of the fees are accurate. This also will go over your monthly payment, your interest rate, the term on your loan. Once you're comfortable with that, you sign that document and a 3-day period starts before you can sign your closing documents. And that gives you a little bit of time to ensure that you're comfortable with the purchase that you're making.
And that timeline's right about when we do our final walkthrough as well. So my job during the transaction is to keep all the timelines correct. We have our inspection contingencies, everything like that. So we pay very close attention to that to make sure we don't miss anything. Our final walkthrough is about 3 days before closing usually. And that's when we walk through the house. If you're remote, we can do it for you and do it with video and make sure everything's good. And that's when we walk through, we make sure the house is in the condition that you think it's going to be when you buy it. So nothing crazy has happened. The walls haven't been ripped apart or anything like that. And then we are there and we're at closing day. And that's my favorite part. I get to give you your keys. And that's when you meet in the title company and sign documents. What do you do on closing day?
Well, I meet you guys at the title company, and we go over all of the last pieces, the final loan docs. You've got to make sure you work your hand out for those because there's a lot to sign. But you go through everything, sign your official closing documents, and then what's going to happen is the title company sends those back to the lender. We approve the documents, send funding back to title. They record it with the county to show that you guys are now the legal owners of your home. And then Seth will get a call and he will get you your keys and take you to your home.
Sometimes we get the question of what is the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification? Jackie.
So the difference is incredibly important. A pre-qualification is based on what you state. So you will give us what you think your income is, what you think your credit may be, what your assets are. And a pre-qualification is just saying, okay, based on what you've said, you are pre-approved. What that really means is that nothing's been verified. So a pre-approval means that you tell me what you make and what your assets are, and we pull an official credit report with all 3 bureaus. Then we can say, okay, based on the information I have verified and seen, I know you're pre-approved for this amount. And we can even take that a step further and go into underwriting for a full underwritten pre-approval. Why is that important? At the end of the day, when we pre-approve you, we're basically saying that you can buy this home. If you do that at the very beginning and you get pre-approved, you know that during that process, as long as the house makes sense and it fits the qualifications for the program, you'll be able to close on that property with no questions. If you do a pre-qualification and you're in the home buying process, it's very possible we could get a W-2 that doesn't quite line up to what we had thought, or maybe there's something on credit that we need to address. That all should be done up front, and it's incredibly important. The other question that I get often is the credit report. Do we have to pull a credit report? We don't have to. However, what that means is that we truly can see the picture of what your credit report says. As far as your scores, if there has been any derogatory information, we want to be able to see that at the very beginning. There is a lot being said about credit reports and the effect that pulling a report will do to your credit, and it really does not have a huge effect. Typically, we'll see between 5 and 7 points, depending on each person's profile. Now, that also being said, the credit bureaus understand that you have the right as a consumer to shop. So there is a time period typically around 14 days. Sometimes they say longer, but what we've seen is 14 days that you can shop different lenders and have your credit report pulled without any additional effect. So it's incredibly important to do that up front at the very beginning, because your credit score ultimately guides us to the programs, to the interest rates available to you, and really everything with the home buying process. So it's important to do all of that at the very beginning.
As promised, I told you I would mention at the end why a realtor might want you to use a local lender that they recommend. And oftentimes, not oftentimes, sometimes I'll recommend a lender and someone will get skeptical. Like, you're getting a kickback, dude. No. We don't get kickbacks. We don't get money from lenders. That's totally illegal and immoral. We will recommend a lender that we trust because we've built a professional working relationship with them, and we know that they're going to get the job done. And that's the most important thing to us. Once we get you into contract, we want to know that we will get you to the closing table. So that's why we build these relationships. Oftentimes we share the same values. That's important to us. You all know that I'm retired law enforcement. Jackie's husband is in law enforcement, so they come from the similar background. A lot of our clients are first responders, so we all speak that same language, and we appreciate that. What are some of the other things? So different programs. You guys have competitive interest rates. So these things all come into play. And sometimes we have a client that is like, I might think, oh, he's not a good fit for Jackie. Let's do this other person that we have. So that can happen too. And some of those programs, like for example, a friend of ours recently reached out and he was looking for a very specific property. I referred him to Jackie and it wasn't going to work out, right?
Right.
So she referred him to someone that can do that specific type of loan, a compound loan.
Yeah. And sometimes that is why it's so important, because, for example, Seth sending him my way, he knew if I couldn't do it, I might know who could.
Yep.
And so at the end of the day, making sure that our buyers are taken care of is the number one priority.
Cool. And I guess that's it. Jackie, thank you for joining us today. I think we answered a lot of questions. As always, if you guys have more questions, reach out to me. If you need to get in touch with Jackie, I can make that happen. We'll also put her information in the comments down below of the video, so you can reach out directly if you'd like. Thanks again.
Thank you.